we pause to reflect and remember today. We hope to truly honor those who have given their lives in service to this country. As we consider their sacrifice, we remember how important it is to live unselfishly. As we consider the great cost of war, as we recall the evil that war is, we remember Solzhenitsyn's insight in The Red Wheel, that war is not the vilest form of evil, only a special case of evil, concentrated in time and space. War is the price we pay for living in a state. Before you can abolish war, you will have to abolish all states, but that is unthinkable until the propensity to violence and evil is rooted out of all human beings. The state was created to protect us from violence. So during this time of ceremony and safety, let us bring to mind all of the things that are spiritually dirtier and more terrible than war. The injustices and abominations that are so heinous, so vile, so detrimental to humanity as a whole that our individual lives are worth giving in exchange to end. Oh, that there would be a time when war would no longer be a necessity. We hope that the day Dr. King dreamed of would not be far off, a day when all humanity will be able to cash in the great promissory note of freedom and justice and live in peace. But until then, as we celebrate the righteous successes of our nation's history, let us consider that virtues like courage, bravery, and integrity were possessed by men and women on all sides of every conflict, and that war is always born out of our human struggle to live in this world, and always carried out in an imperfect manner. We must not ignore the flaws nor the virtues of the fallen and thus dehumanize them, for that would rend the connection between them and us and make it difficult to see parallels between their time and ours. We want to truly and honestly remember those who have died. Let us see the benefits we now enjoy because of their altruism and dedication. Let us follow their worthy examples, and let us be eternally grateful for all the good they accomplished. George, you're in the George Thompson room, and George Thompson's going to lead us in the rest of the ceremony.
Thank you much, Abe. Thank you, thank you. So good morning, everyone. Memorial Day is a day when once a year we recognize and honor service members who gave their lives for our freedom, something that we should all cherish. Memorial Day really doesn't start today, though. It started a couple of weeks ago when, with Margot Caulfield and Bruce McEnany and Miss Bevo Long and the sixth graders, they went throughout the town putting up flags in the cemetery. So I actually think that was the beginning of the Memorial Day celebrations in this town. So we're ready to get started, and we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. And as I understand, we have a representative from each one of the classes that's going to come up and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. So if those people would come up now. Are we all set, guys? Pledge of Allegiance. We all set? Everyone stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, guys. Back to your seats. Okay, you'll notice on the back of your program is a word song sheet with words to all the songs that we're going to be singing today. We hope you'll sing loudly, and we're very fortunate to have Ellen Turco playing the piano for us today for all of our tunes. And we're going to tell you the piano got tuned. It hasn't been tuned in a number of years, so it got tuned just for this very special occasion. So we're going to start by singing America, which is also known as My Country 'Tis of Thee.
Thank you. Next, we're going to have a parade of flags, and we'll be singing the song that goes along with each division of our armed services, and we'll be starting with the Air Force song, and that flag is going to be presented by Gabrielle Seville. So the Air Force song is the first one on our list. Of the Air Force here today? We do, right over here. Welcome, welcome, a member of the Air Force. Next song we're going to sing is the Army song, and the flag will be presented by Danae Cartier. Of the Army here with us today. Any members from the Army? We do in the back, all right. Welcome. Next song we're going to sing is the song of the Coast Guard. This one may be not familiar to a lot of people, but we're going to sing this portion of the song, which might be more familiar. Coast Guard flag is going to be presented by Grayson Hughes. We're always ready for the call. We place our trust in thee. Through storm and storm and howling gale, shall onward proceed. Sacrifice promises of God, our fame, our glory too. To fight, to save, or fight and die, Next, we're going to do the Marines hymn, which is the flag will be presented by Gabe Cosgrove. the Navy song, Anchors Away, and that flag is going to be presented by Garrett Turco. Anchors away, my boys, anchors we don't have a song, I just ask that as it's presented, we just do it in silence. POW flag, please. For those that might not know, which might be students, POW stands for Missing in Action. You are not forgotten. So that would be for service people who have died or were prisoners of war or they're missing. Okay, our next part in the service, you can please sit down. Now, I didn't ask this, and I'd probably be remiss if I didn't. Is there anybody in the room who at one point was a prisoner of war? That's good news. Okay, next we're going to have a presentation by the students in grades 3, 4, and 5. And they're going to be singing, "This Land is Your Land." Grades 3, 4, and 5.
This land is your land, this land is my land, from California to the New York Islands, from the redwood forest to the ocean waters. This land was made for you and me. As I was walking that rhythm highway, I saw above me that endless highway. I saw below me that golden valley. This land was made for you and me. I roamed and rambled, and followed my footsteps. This promised land of Carolina deserts, and all around me a voice was sounding. This land was made for you and me. The sun was shining, and the night was rolling. The hills waving, and the dust was rolling. And the birds was chanting, and the fog was lifting. This land was made for you and me. This land is your land, this land is my land, from California to the New York Islands, from the redwood forest to the ocean waters. This land was made for you and me.
It's always interesting when we have these programs to try to find somebody that's willing to share a few words with us, and that would be in the form of a guest speaker. And this year, I said, you know, we have somebody who is in the military, who served in the military for 14 years, somebody who actually went to school here, which I thought was really exciting. So we did ask if she would come and say a few words to us this morning, and that person would be Amy Benoit. Thank you very much, Amy, for coming.
Hello, thank you. My former name was Sergeant Benoit. I served in Iraq. I was actually stationed in Tikrit from 04 to 05. I was moved in 03 and came home in the beginning of 05, and it was an experience. I have a speech that I actually thought would be nice. It's not mine, I did not write it, I do apologize for that, but it's a nice speech. For many Americans, the last Monday in May marks the unofficial start of summer. A long weekend with a family barbecue, gathering of friends, For those who served in the military, Memorial Day holds a greater significance as it commemorates the brave men and women who lost their lives defending our great nation. At the core of our military lies unique themes: the selfless desire to serve and the willingness to sacrifice to defend our nation. The origins of Memorial Day, first observed over 155 years ago, and then known as Decoration Day, was to beautify the graves in memory of those who fought and died to preserve our nation, our Union during the Civil War. The holiday's name obviously changed over the years, but its ideals and intentions have not. It's a day all Americans should take a moment to honor those who made the ultimate sacrifice in service to our country. Memorial Day is a day of both grief and celebration, reflecting on the tragic loss of life and recounting the courageousness of their service. As President Harry Truman stated in his address to the armed forces after the death of President Franklin D. Roosevelt, our debt to the historic men and valiant women in the service of our country can never be repaid. They have earned our undying gratitude. America will never forget their sacrifices. Because of these sacrifices, the dawn of justice and freedom throughout the world slowly casts its gleam across the horizon. The respect and admiration we give our fallen pay tribute to our memory and the lives they live. We do so by visiting their grave sites or placing flags, wreaths, and other mementos at memorials in our communities. But their final resting place should not be the only space we gather, share memories, or sit in quiet. To truly honor these lives, we must share those stories with others and ensure their memories live on even though they are gone. Stories like that of U.S. Army Specialist Lori Piazza. Piazza deployed in Iraq in March 2003, almost 20 years ago to this day. As part of the invasion, her group, which included her best friend Jessica Lynch, was ambushed on the day to Nigeria and taken prisoner. Unfortunately, Piazza did not survive the ordeal. Piazza was the first woman service member to die in Iraq and the first Native American woman killed while fighting for the U.S. military. Before he died, her father, Terry Piazza, a Vietnam veteran, said that the memorials in her honor were difficult, but as time passed, it helped him and his family, including his grandchildren, heal and celebrate her life. No matter where their battlefield was, in the mountains of Afghanistan, deserts of Iraq, or Syria, skies over Europe, islands of the Pacific, frozen terrain of Korea, jungles of Vietnam, or elsewhere, the stories of the fallen matter and need to be told. By sharing their stories, we keep their memories alive and give others a glimpse of military service. That aims to inspire them and create a better world, stronger nation, and kinder communities. It is up to us to use the gifts secured by those who made the ultimate sacrifice to do as much good as possible and honor the debt that we can never repay. On Memorial Day, we reflect and share the experiences of our fallen loved ones, but tomorrow and in the days that follow, we must act. Let's carry their sacrifice with us in our hearts and strive to honor their memory by being good and faithful, hopeful, strong, and committed to building a brighter future for all. As Major General John A. Logan, the leader of the Union Veterans Organization and Congressman, made a case to our country that set the precedence for today's holiday, said, "Let no vandalism of a rice or neglect the ravages of time testify to the present or to the coming generations, that we have forgotten as a people the cost of the free and undivided republic. Duty, honor, country. They lived for it and they died for it. As a nation, we must remember ourselves of the future they fought for and do our best to live up to those values in the days ahead. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming today, and we thank you for your service. We won't forget it.
Thank you. So when I first spoke with Amy and we talked about what she could say or what she might talk about, I asked her if she would talk about Memorial Day and what it really is and what it really means. And I think you hit it right on the target. Thank you very much for doing that. Next, we're going to ask the sixth graders if they would come up. They are going to read Flanders Fields.
In Flanders Fields by John McCrae.
In Flanders Fields the poppies blow, between the crosses row and row.
That mark our place and in the sky.
The lark still bravely sing and fly, scarce heard amid the guns below. Sir, days ago, we lived, felt on, soft sunset glow, loved and were loved, and now we lie.
In Flanders Fields.
Take our quarrel with the foe,
From failing hands we throw.
the torch be yours to hold it high. If you bring faith with us who die, we shall not sleep.
The poppies grow in Flanders Fields.
Memorial Day is a time to remember, to honor and show our respect for all men and women who gave up their lives for the country they fought to protect. Although we cannot picture all of their faces, nor recognize each person's name, we give thanks today for those brave U.S. soldiers. When called by our country, they came. Sixth grade, I believe, is going to be continuing by reading the names of veterans from our town of Cavendish that died in service for their country.
Memorial Day is when we remember those who died while in service to their country. Started as a way to remember those who died in the Civil War. James A. Garfield, when he was an Ohio congressman and a former Civil War Union general, stated at the commemoration of Arlington National Cemetery.
We do not know one promise these men made, one pledge they gave, one word they spoke, but we do know they sum up and perfected by one supreme act the highest virtues of men and citizens.
For love of country they accepted death, and thus resolved all doubts, and made their immortal their patriotism and their virtue.
The Revolutionary War. Soldiers who died in the Revolutionary War around Cavendish, particularly in the Crown Point Road, were buried in the coffin, the Revolutionary Cemetery, and in private graves.
Civil War. Of the 173 names appearing on the Cavendish Civil War Memorial, 14 died in battle wounds, 1 in prison, 13 while in the service but from disease, 2 were lost at sea, 1 was drowned, and 1 was missing in action.
They were Josie Adams, Joseph Ashley at Ginsburg, Sylvius S. Barnard, Zacchaeus Blood at Winchester, Thomas D. DeMary, Henry D. Billy Brown at Petersburg. Fletcher, John Quincy French in the Wilderness, Luther Graves, who died from wounds in Leeds Mills.
Nathan Graves, John L., and Henry Grant.
Kyle W. Holden, Horace Needham at Petersburg, and Chancellor Page.
Lola B. Payne, Otto Rimley, Michael Shannon.
Wesley Sheldon at Cedar Creek, George Smith, John Smith at Petersburg.
Nicholas Smith, Spotsylvania, and Charles Spaulding. Harry Spaulding died in Anderson Prison. Matthew Seward died of wounds. Charles Stackford, George Taylor, and George Wallace.
James Webster from Cold Harbor, William Webster, Henry P. White, Merritt White, Spanish-American War. 6 men served with 1, Miss Brown dying.
World War I. 57 men and 1 woman enlisted. 4 men died: George Dixon, Winthrop Hoyle, Truman McNulty, and Francis Wallace. Winthrop Hoyle was 16.
World War II. 168 men and 1 woman served with 7 men dying during the course of the war. Ted Berg, Harold Davey, Dwayne Hodge, Kenneth Hodge, Morris Percy, Edward Sherrod Jr., and H. Allen Spaulding.
So now you know the people who were from Cavendish who gave their lives serving our country and our community. Okay, next we're going to ask that we continue by asking you to rise and sing the Star Spangled Banner.
Bright stars through the perilous
the cemeteries around the country and abroad, we have graves of servicemen and women who gave their lives for this country. There are many veterans who died for this country who have no physical grave. It is symbolic that we place this wreath in the flowing water to touch their graves wherever they might be. Thank you for your sacrifice.
And this year we remember Chris Quinn for 70 years.
President Lincoln's words at Gettysburg in the middle of our Civil War. We know that there is no honor that we can add to the memory of the dead by speaking here today. We best honor the dead by our treatment of the living, by living in consideration of the uncertainty of life, with a renewed commitment to integrity, honor, and to work for justice.